Well, let's hit the fan. What is the worst case scenario gear that I'm gonna grab to get me out of town? Yeah, that, I'm going around. Welcome back for another part of our Get Home series. We're covering today gear. So we're going to talk specifically about our Get Home loadout. What would you wear? What kind of gear would you carry to get yourself home in civil unrest? This would be the mostly peaceful protests that we have seen, where in a very peaceful way they are lighting fires, setting cars on fire, destroying property, vandalizing, going after different types of people. These are the things that we want to avoid at all costs. We're going to talk about today what you could carry and wear in a very covert manner to get you home. Now remember, the very beginning of all of this is the eye, getting good intelligence, finding out what kind of people are in these groups. Do you really have to be in the area? If you don't, avoid it. If you are in the area and you have to get home, your vehicle is not always an option. So this is going to be more of an on-foot option. I have to leave my vehicle behind. I'm going on foot to get home. Let's talk about what you should keep in your pockets. What things do I need to have on my person regardless of where I'm at and what I'm doing? So the basics come down to what I carry in this little pouch. I've got a flashlight, which is just a tiny little stream light. It's a great little light that I can stick in my pocket and not have to worry with. I've got a pen. This is one by Olight. It's a great little pen. I've got a notepad for taking notes. Of course, this is a waterproof type notepad so that, even if it's damp out, which it could be raining and humid at any point, your paper is going to get messed up. Now, some of the more important things that I carry with me is I carry some sort of government ID, which of course could be your driver's license, concealed carry permit, could be a passport card, anything like that. Some sort of ID outside of what I would carry in my wallet. I'm also going to carry a prepaid bus pass. And this would be for the area that I'm in. I'm going to look at what bus routes I could use. You can usually buy a 2 or 3 ride pass. It's always good to have one. Throw it in there. They're really, really inexpensive. And of course, cash. So I've got $150 in cash that I keep as emergencies. This is broke down into 10s, 5s, and 1s. If I need to pay for somebody to help me out or pay for a item or a bus pass or a taxi, I want to have smaller bills. That way I don't use everything at once. One of the bigger things too is I split it up, 75 and 75. This goes in one pocket, this goes in another. Gives me a little extra security having these separated. So always good to have. 150 bucks, I would say $100 at a minimum, because pretty much $100 broke down into 10s, 5s, and 1s can get you anywhere you need to go. A lot of people will carry pocket knives and multi-tools. Pocket knives are a great option for defense. Of course, it's been said, knives are the greatest backup because they never run out of ammo. So having a good knife on you, if you need to defend yourself, this one by CRTK, great knife. It's a karambit style, great for being able to defend yourself if you need to. Another option would be to have a multi-tool like this Gerber. This Gerber has a bit driver on it where I can carry a few extra bits and just a simple blade. So there's not much to this. It's a great little knife. Doesn't take up a lot of room in my pocket, but is excellent for being able to just carry around with me as needed. Now we've talked about the things that I can carry in my pocket. So let's talk about one thing that helps me with wayfinding. Something that's going to be 100% accurate every time I need it to keep me going in the right direction, and that is simply a compass. Now I like having a wrist compass. This one is made by Sunto. It's an awesome compass. keeps me on bearing, especially if I'm in a city that I'm not familiar with and I'm trying to get to a location without holding a map out. At least I can give myself some cardinal directions of which direction I need to be heading. If I know the safe area is off to my west, well, I can utilize my compass to be able to keep me moving west as I need to. Now, getting into Bob here, who is wearing a worst case loadout. We're going to be talking about two loadouts here. These are extreme case loadouts. That's one thing I'm going to say. If you do proper planning, you should not have to use a loadout like this. This is going to be something that is, you've been caught completely off guard. You're going to your cache that's in your car. You're grabbing what gear that you need and you're headed home. This also takes into account that vehicles are out of the option. You may be in an area where the roads are shut down. You've got to go on foot. So remember, that's where those bus passes and a few other things come in, is the fact that we can go, get on a bus, get closer to our house. We come back for our car later. Let's talk about what Bob is wearing. What Bob is wearing is what I would consider to be a worst case loadout. Now, this is what I call a summer option. I don't want to stick out, but I want to wear protective gear and have enough equipment to be prepared and handle whatever I need to handle to get myself home. Especially if there are violent mobs moving around, there are people that are targeting different groups, different people. Of course, as we've seen in the past, mobs will take targets of opportunity. If you're a target of opportunity, they'll come after you. You need to be prepared. So let's talk about what all Bob has on. So Bob's wearing a button-up 511 shirt. Can be any kind of shirt. The reason I prefer these 511s is because they have snaps. And these snaps make it very easy for you to pop open, which now we can see he's wearing some body armor. We have our gun belt on. We have a radio. We've got extra ammunition. And back here we have items such as a monocular and a GPS. So let's go ahead and take the shirt off just so we can see better about what's going on. So let's talk about what he's wearing. He's wearing a low profile carrier. This one is made by Warrior Assault Systems. We have hard armor. And what we'll do is we'll work our way around. We'll go ahead and start on this side with my firearm set. On my hip, I'm going to be carrying my full-size Glock 17. This is an inert laser trainer. This is made by Grip Keeper. This is the same setup that I use, which has an optic, full-size Glock 17, and a light. So this allows me to do my training. With an inert gun, I don't have to worry about anything having to do with a real firearm. So this, great option to be able to have. Let's go up a little bit. And behind my radio, I have a custom VS17 panel. This is a signaling panel. I used to make these. Don't know if we're going to bring them back into production or not. But what this is just a small, compact signal panel that I can use to get somebody's attention if I need to, and or set it up for friend or foe, or ground to sky signaling. Very handy little option to have. This gives me the ability to communicate in a very passive way. All right, moving forward, I've got a Baofane. And this is a DM32, so this is a digital radio. This radio is great for being able to use digital signals and analog signals. You can actually set it up to do a pseudo encryption that will work between you and friends. You can send digital signals out on it like a pager. There's a bunch of different ways you can use this. Again, getting into it, there's a lot to unpack when you get into these. There's a ton of really good YouTube channels that talk about this radio. These radios run around $100, if not less, to get them to you. Great radio to have, easy to program, easy to be able to use in these situations. So being able to communicate in a way that's outside of my cell phone. That's one of the biggest things that we go with. I don't want to use my cell phone. I want to be able to communicate in an analog, non-cell phone digital way. Moving on forward. So my comm setup is basically just a push to talk that is a mini push to talk. And that's all that is. That is my microphone. Here is a 3.5 millimeter socket so that I can use regular headphones, I can use earwigs, anything like that. Works out great. Moving on around, I have got a door shim, something that can get me through physical barriers such as fences, gates, those kinds of things, doors. These are great for being able to work your way into areas to give you some protection or be able to cut through certain areas. They're really more for doors and areas that are more suggested than really a deterrent. Getting up here, I have a medical identification card. This is just in case I go down or something happens. You can grab this and pull. This gives basic medical information to anybody that comes across me, anything that is specific for me. You can get these at our Etsy store. These are custom-made cards. You email us, we build them however you want them, with whatever information you want on them, and then they come with a great little carrier that goes right behind that American flag. Good option to have for you. All right, moving forward, we've got a bladed defense knife just in case. Allows me the option to be able to protect myself if something goes wrong with my handgun or my backup or whatever. It just gives me an extra option. This one is a great little option, mainly because it's made out of a resin. So it's a non-metallic, great little option if you need it. As a non-lethal deterrent, one of the biggest things that I want to have is a way to be able to get multiple people off of me at once, prevent me from having to use my firearm or anything else that would be more lethal. So I have got non-lethal defense spray. So this is the Palm Mark III. This is a pepper spray, and this actually comes in a stream. So this allows me to project out to about 15 feet, be able to get people away from me if I need to, multiple people. It gives me a plan to escape. All right, this is a great little item to have. Extra ammunition. I'm going to skip over this for right now. In this pocket, I have got my GPS, which is tethered. This is an analog GPS. Why do I not want to have my phone? We'll cover that here in a minute why I don't want to use my phone. But I've got my GPS, so that can help me get home. And then a binocular that allows me to see at distance so I know what's going on before I get myself into it. I can check out areas before moving through them, especially if it's a large open area. I want to take a second to thank Palm Industries for partnering with us on this video and providing their handheld and Mark III defense sprays. These are great options for non-lethal force. There will be links in the description to their website. Be sure to take some time and check them out. So let's talk about cold weather carry. How could I, in this worst case scenario, conceal the amount of gear that I need to get me out just in case I have to engage mobs or anything like that to get me out of my area? Items worn in the winter are usually a little more bulky, a little easier to conceal. In this case, yeah, you see some lumps, but you really can't see all the gear that he is wearing. Now that we removed that layer, you can see that we have the same carrier, low profile carrier with the hard armor. We now have a chest rig, a low profile chest rig, which is very similar to the T-Rex Arms Ready rig. This one is actually made by Cryptex. A little less covert than where we started with the summer carry, but this is more equipment, a heavier loadout. So let's take a second to talk about my personal defense weapon. This is a Mac 5K, which is an MP5K clone. It is equipped with a stabilizing brace. I have a Trijicon RMO, a Riots GL5 light laser, and this also illuminates invisible and IR laser. Utilizing a visible laser as a deterrent, if your weapon is already out, is not a bad option. It definitely lessens the chance that you may have to actually use deadly force. Let's talk about the backpack. In addition to holding my Mac 5K, this is also going to carry some supplies. Now, one of the most important pieces that I think everybody needs to understand is that in cases like this, cell phones are not your friend. Anything that puts out a signal, being Bluetooth, cellular, Wi-Fi, anything like that, needs to be put into a Faraday bag. One of the ways that the previous administration targeted people at the January 6th was looking up cell phone records. What towers were they hitting in the midst of all of that chaos? You don't want to be one that's tied up in that. Get you a Faraday bag. This one is made by Hootify. This is an inexpensive one that's on Amazon. These cost around 20 bucks. I can pack anything and everything, my cell phone, everything that I have into this, prevent those signals from going out and basically take me off grid. Battery pack. This one has multiple chargers on it so that I can charge different types of devices, my iPhone, cameras, lights, those kinds of items. Great little option since it has varied uses. I can use it for any type of phone, any type of device. Don't have to carry any extra cords. Great option. Always want to be able to keep everything that I have up and going. A couple little extra items that I like to carry are water keys. These are used for turning on water spigots, those ones that you'll see on commercial buildings that kind of prevent people from tampering with them. Great little options to have, especially when you're going to refill your water bottles if you're on foot. Now, with that being said, I also carry a collapsible water bottle by Hydro Flask. This is a great little bottle. It's about the size of an Nalgene. This little bottle is going to give me 32 ounces or 1 liter of water to be able to drink as I'm moving. Those water keys are going to allow me to completely replenish it as I go on. We've covered in a previous video my small little EDC kit. This is what I call my boo-boo kit. This has medications like anti-diarrheal, allergy medicines, ibuprofen, aspirin. I've got bandages, antibiotic ointments, those kinds of things in here. This is just kind of my little boo-boo, non-trauma, take care of little issues just like the one on my finger now. That'll help get me back home. Got a pair of rubber gloves. These are just in case I have to handle something that I don't want to get my hands on or get my hands dirty with. Another option with that, with the winter wear, I'm not going to be carrying this instead, but this is more of a summer wear or a summer or light weather. This is a 511 packable hoodie. So just like the winter hoodie that we had on him earlier, this is an option that I can use to get me basic protection and coverage over my gear while I'm moving. So something small, it's packable, kind of helps me go a little more covert than completely overt and everything's sitting out. Sharpie is a great thing to have. I can leave notes, directions, indicators, codes, anything that I need to on signs, billboards, windows, doors. This can help other people that are in my group find me or locate the direction that I'm headed. Well, we talked about the Faraday bag. So let's talk a little bit about actual protection of our identity. We're moving through areas, there's cameras, there's all sorts of bad actors going on. We don't want to be associated with them. We don't want to be identified and brought into that. Well, here's some options to work with. All right, this is a simple balaclava. You're going to find these, people are wearing these in the midst of riots and all sorts of stuff to protect themselves, protect their face. Great to have in your bag. We can go with the tried and true face mask. This is just a black one. Just a plain old COVID face mask that can cover your face, kind of protect your identity. And then if you really want to get into it, there are specific made items like this that are blurred faces that will fool facial recognition. Future B here. Couple of things that I totally forgot to add in that I had taken out of my bag for other uses and honestly didn't get to them as I was going through them. One of the things that you want to make sure you have in your gear cache is some good gloves. Something with a leather pigskin palm that's basically going to be able to take care of moving over stuff, around things, pulling open fences, barbed wire, whatever. Things to kind of get you out of that situation. Now, these are by Mechanics. They make an excellent glove. The ones I have, even though these are new, but the ones that I do have that are well broke in are honestly, they're still in great shape. I would highly recommend these. Not in this color though. For something that is not as basically conspicuous, I'd probably go with a black or a gray set, but definitely a good set of work gloves. Now, something else, I want to have something to kind of keep my energy up. I've got 4 energy bars in here. I got 2 Cliff bars and 2 generic Walmart brands. These are great for giving me calories. There is, in this bag, is 1,200 calories. That's more than enough to get me home out of any situation, even if I'm in a city that I've never been to before. Also in here, I've got some electrolyte powder, basically Gatorade powder, that I can dump into my water bottle, kind of help me out when it comes down to be able to keep my electrolytes out, because in the summer, like now, I'm going to be carrying extra gear. I'm going to be sweating. I want to make sure that I can get home. Something else that I have in here are caffeine tablets. Now, the drawback with caffeine tablets is the fact that they make you pee. Caffeine makes you pee, but it does help you stay awake and alert, help you get out of your situation. Coupled with that, I have added in some electrolyte tablets, something that can help me out as far as keeping me balanced when I'm taking the caffeine tablets. So some snacks, things to kind of keep you going and kind of keep your spirits up as you're moving. Another thing is, if you feel like it's on the extreme end, is a good gas mask. So you can pick up gas masks now from $80 to $500, depending on how much you want to spend. The better ones definitely are the ones that are sized and fit your face better. But for the initial getting out of Dodge kind of thing, you just want something that's going to help filter out any sort of riot agents. A good filter makes a big difference on it. Go with something that takes 40 millimeter filters. Big thing. And the reason that you want to use the 40 millimeter is this is a standardized thread for most gas masks. You want to get a filter that will take care of biological agents. You know, you can pick up surplus military NBC, nuclear, biological, and chemical agents. Filters off of eBay, super cheap. It's a great way to be able to, they filter out CS gas, they filter out riot agents, that kind of stuff. But in the event that there's some sort of pandemic that you're trying to escape from, they're also going to work well with that. So definitely pick you up a filter and a gas mask. Even if you're having to drive home, you have some sort of major agent or major incident that goes down, you can throw on your gas mask inside your car, because your car is not going to be completely sealed up. You're going to get agents, you're going to get riot agents into it if you're in that area and you have to drive through it. We've seen more and more that a lot of these people that are bad actors in these riots and events, they will carry pepper spray and CS gas and that kind of stuff that's commercially available. I mean, there's nothing illegal about having any of it. So they may have some, and they may try to stop you in your car and try to spray your car or whatever, but just not a bad option to at least keep in your cache just in case that you need it. Now, talking about riot agents and CS gases. I've been through training. I have, as a police officer, as a tactical medic, I have been exposed to CS gas several times in training. I have been in events where it was deployed and some of it blew back on us. It's an irritant. The whole point behind it is not to shut people down like pepper spray does. It really is to disperse people. It's to basically make people not want to be in the area that they're in. So if you do, don't want to go with a gas mask and you do get exposed to it, it's fine. You can get away from it. Just remember, when you get into the CS gas and the riot agent gases and those kinds of things, understand that washing it off really doesn't do any good right off the bat. Best thing for you is to keep moving, keep airflow going over you, and help it disperse off of your skin. It will come off of your skin without you having to scrub or anything like that. It's totally different from pepper spray. So just remember that those are options that you can work with if you get involved into something that is some sort of a riot agent. So that covers pretty much all of our stuff. The items that are in our last case scenario of this is my only option to get out of town. I have basically screwed up in my planning, and now I've got to make my way through mobs, gangs, crowds, violent people, and get home. This is something that obviously is going to be kind of a far out scenario, but knowing how people are with emotionally peaceful protests, you just really never know what you can come across. Hopefully I've given you a few options to think about, ideas on gear, extreme loadouts for those last case scenarios that basically your planning has gone to crap and you're going to have to fight your way out of whatever situation you're in. Let us know what you think. Leave some comments below. Be sure to like and share, help out our channel. Check out our Etsy store. Check out the links below, especially for the Palm Industries equipment. Thanks for watching. If you want to support the channel, like, subscribe, share our content, and let us know what you think in the comments.